Good morning, America, and welcome to My Mornings with Vanessa. I'm Vanessa Broussard. We start the day with the Clintons. Bill and Hillary Clinton are expected on Capitol Hill for depositions regarding the Epstein files, but will they show? No one knows. The former president has been summoned to appear, as well as the former Secretary of State, both subpoenaed to testify before the House Oversight Committee in separate closed-door depositions. The two were scheduled last month, but they postponed until today. The House Oversight Committee hasn't heard on if they'll show up this morning at 10 a.m. Right now, they should be arriving. If they don't appear, they could be held in contempt of Congress. We'll keep you posted this morning. Now to a bombshell coming from insiders in Minnesota. Sources say Governor Tim Walz could resign from office as soon as this week. This comes after Walz was referred for a criminal investigation over Somali fraud, and articles of impeachment expected to be released today. We begin our coverage of Minnesota with YouTuber Neil Johnson, who is also a Minnesota resident. Neil, good morning to you. Thanks for being here with us this morning. You're following this on the ground there in Minnesota. Tim Walz, he dropped out of the campaign. He won't run again. But a lot of people say that's not enough. They're calling for him to resign. What's your take?
Well, there's a couple takes on that. One, I guess it would be good that he resigns in disgrace because, well, he should. But the flip side of that is his replacement would be his lieutenant governor, Peggy Flanagan, who I believe is even worse of an ideologue than Tim Walz, if you find that possible to believe. She's the gal who dressed up in a hijab. She's the gal who, pretend she was Somalian. She's the gal who wore the Protect Trans Kids with a bloody knife on the front. I mean, Peggy Flanagan's a nut job. Interestingly enough, I mean, the fraud in Minnesota continues to be exposed. We're on to transportation companies now. I actually went out and did my own independent investigation on transportation companies, actually a whole building at 4001 Stinson in St. Anthony, Minnesota, which is northeast Minneapolis area. And as I went down those halls, many of those businesses were not open, lights were off, and nobody was home. Furthermore, as I went and interviewed people and asked them about the state tax dollars they were receiving, they wanted me out of there. Vans with expired tabs, vans with bashed in back ends, vans that hadn't moved in months. And so you got to wonder, where's all that money coming from? Where is it going? We have real problems in Minnesota, but it's not just Minnesota. We've seen millions of dollars, actually billions of dollars flying out of the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, but it's also happening at SeaTac, I think Columbus, Ohio, and then also an airport in Texas. But Minnesota has been by far the greatest transporter of money out by Somalian nationals back to Somalia, which we've also found funds terrorist networks like Al-Shabaab. This story just continues in its depth and breadth as more people go out there and do investigative reporting.
Yeah, and this all started pretty much. I know there were some local news reports on what was going on. Nick Shirley, as we've been reporting from the start, Nick Shirley, an independent journalist, he went and did an entire story on the daycare centers there in Minnesota, Minneapolis area that were not in business. No kids. He was trying to get his little son into a daycare and couldn't find one, he said. They were all shut down, but yet taking, millions of dollars each. So this comes out, you see this comes out, like you just mentioned, you then went and did your own investigations and you found the same thing, correct?
Correct. And mine actually, so mine was a little bit more with transportation companies. It was a video I uploaded to YouTube yesterday. I actually walked in and talked with those people and asked them just some basic questions. I probably should have had a better cover going in, like I was a repair service for vans or something like that. But I don't know. It was my first time doing it. And I just kind of went and started asking questions and wondered why their vans hadn't moved in 6 months and why they had broken vans sitting out in the parking lot. I'm surprised actually that the owner of the building, being a commercial property, wouldn't say something to the people as well, because that's just kind of a stain on that commercial property. But I know commercial properties are really looking for renters right now. Commercial real estate's in its own tailspin, so maybe they just don't want to say too much because they fear losing the tenants. But interestingly, they were. I know I've met and talked to some Somalians who are glad to be here and actually do like the country. But on a whole, you kind of look at the numbers and you go, well, where's the opportunity to find the fraud? And the reality is, it is in Somali owned businesses in Minnesota. And so I can go into a building like this by looking at the names of the tenants and who owns the companies. And it's always a Muhammad, or something along those lines. And you go in there and then you just find that all of these businesses aren't even open or are obviously suspect and fraudulent. So it's, I don't know. You cannot allow large groups of unvetted, unchecked people who do not have to assimilate. Remember how we used to do immigration in this country? People went through Ellis Island, they went through assimilation classes. The reason America was the great melting pot, the reason it worked as such was because we required people to assimilate to our culture. And now we want to revere other cultures more than our own. It's almost like we don't believe enough in our own culture.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what's happening right now. They want us to tend to their culture instead of the American way. All this unfolds. We mentioned Tim Walz, of course. We all know that he dropped out of the governor's race, and there's still calls for him to resign. President Trump has even called for him to resign. I want to take a listen to Rep. Tim Burchett, who made that same calling this week.
From Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that it needs to be said that Governor Walz needs to step down. Him saying he will stay on to investigate is like O.J. Simpson saying he will investigate the murder of his ex-wife. Just doesn't work out. I have a question to the representatives, and thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what a great comparison. That's like O.J. Simpson saying that he'll conduct his own investigation into the murders of his ex-wife and Ron Goldman. You just don't do that. So there are calls. President Trump, he's been very vocal on Truth Social. He made a comment this morning, actually, right before showtime. He said this as well just in the days prior. Minnesota's corrupt governor will probably leave office before his term is up. But in any event, he says he will not run again because he was caught red-handed, along with his friend Ilhan Omar, stealing tens of billions of taxpayer dollars. And he goes on to talk about it in that post. So this is forefront. Again, he made another post this morning. That's what everyone's watching. That's what everyone's talking about. What are people saying on the ground there? What are you hearing from your neighbors and people around the state?
Well, here's the thing. There's two things. Obviously, I live in outstate. I'm rural Minnesota. Nobody likes Tim Walz. I'm even talking to government employees who feel he does actually need to step down. They're very frustrated because they have to justify $5 expenses, and yet they're seeing billions of dollars in fraud flowing out of the state. I mean, government workers who are legitimately ticked off. Okay. But there's another side of Minnesota. I was down at the protests. I went down there and I did on the street reporting there. I did live streaming from the event. And these are people from the neighborhood. So, and I talked to my friend in law enforcement and I said, do you think we'll see rioting tonight? And that was that first night. And he said, no, he said, they're going to have to get their people bussed in or fly them in, because those larger crowds, a lot of times, are not just locals. And some of the big agitators are not local people either. These are people who are trained to do that. But you need to understand, and I think a lot of people think, because we get siloed in chambers, and people think, oh, nobody actually thinks that way, right? It's like when I first moved down to the Twin Cities and I went to work at this restaurant in downtown Minneapolis, and I thought, my gosh, it looks like a number of these guys like other guys or something. But I'm from Bemidji, Minnesota. I'm like, but nobody thinks that way. See, you kind of get siloed into your own thinking. And when I was down there at the protest, I will tell you hands down that there are a number of people who still support Tim Walz. They think Nick Shirley's video is a fake. They think all these things. They're watching MSNBC every night. These are typically white people. I mean, by far the majority of people, I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, we're talking well over 90% of the people that I saw that day that were protesting were down in the autonomous zone, as it was called at that point, where they had blocked off the streets, were white. and they were typically middle-aged or older. Most of them are older. I mean, a lot of them were, people in their like 70s, although there were younger people there too. But it was very telling. I mean, we just don't think, we kind of watch this and we're like, wait, how can they think that? I mean, you're watching them screaming in the faces of ICE. They're using all these cuss words. They're trying to get in front of ICE vehicles, or they're using their vehicles to ram ICE agents. I mean, and you're going like, what the heck happened here? Somewhere along the line, I don't understand, but there are people who actually think that WALZ is a good governor.
Mm. How times have changed, Neil. You know, the bad guys are now the good guys, and they're saying that the good guys are now the bad guys. It's what America voted for. That's what ICE is there to do, is to deport the illegals that have come into our country. And they're the ones that are getting, stomped on, and they have items thrown at them, and just being harassed by all of these protesters. But I love when people like you come on, because you've been there firsthand. You've been an eyewitness on the ground at these protests, and you can really tell us who these people are, because we can hear all day long, Neil, that these are paid protesters. I've seen it. I talked about it yesterday on my show, that I've been in Washington, D.C. when President Trump appeared in court, and I remember specifically one situation where the police officers knew these protesters by name, because it's the same people showing up at all of the different locations across the country, and they cause chaos. And so these law enforcement officers know who they are, again, by name. So who are they? Who's funding them? And where are they coming from? But these people, again, you can hear people say it on the news, but when you see it firsthand, it really tells the story that, yes, these people aren't just upset people who live in Minnesota. These are people who are paid to be there.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it was an eye-opening experience for me just going down there. I mean, I lived in the Twin Cities for a while. Actually, you go down around that area where the George Floyd Square, just a few blocks away from there. I used to play basketball with the drug dealers back in the day when they had pagers. So I know that area. I lived right on the midway of Minneapolis, St. Paul. It has definitely changed. Okay. And a lot of South Minneapolis, and you see this in Chicago too, areas that became more gentrified. So there used to be, remember the show Good Times and Cabrini Greens in South Chicago? That's all gone now. And they dispersed those people throughout other areas of the Chicago metro area, and they built high rises, beautiful high rises that had views of the lake. We've seen a lot of changes over the years, and one of the things that I guess. I watched these people protest, and you talked about it. Things that were good are now bad, and things that were bad are now good. And there's a verse in the Bible about that: "Woe to those that call good evil and evil good." I was watching these protesters, and they were, they got those bullhorns that they scream through.
Oh, yeah.
And then they can make siren noises with them. And they're in this guy's face, and he's obviously a Gen Xer, and they're sitting there just, like right in his ear. Now, that's like an assault of hearing. I mean, seriously, these are the kinds of things that cause hearing damage. Finally, the guy had enough, and he shoved the guy off. Other guys come in to, do something about it, and he starts taking them all down. It was pretty amazing. And I know I shouldn't like that footage as much as I do, but you get so tired of these people. And I just love to see it, because what annoying little punks that think that they can just do this and act with impunity, like nothing's ever going to happen to them. They do the same thing to officers. They scream in the officers' faces. They throw things at the officers. My friend who was down there during the George Floyd riots, and they say, well, it's just a snowball. I mean, what's wrong with these officers? No, they're hiding rocks in the snowballs. The snowballs actually are ice balls. My friend still has a scar from that. There was a guy who actually went to two, I think, officers during the Floyd riots went to the hospital due to that, head injuries from these quote unquote snowballs. And so we see, and then they're constantly trying to play this social media game of showing the end of clips, but not the preceding events before it. And then acting, and people people buy this stuff. It's really frustrating. We saw, them releasing this footage of Renee Good when the officer was kind of hidden and you couldn't see that he was clearly hit with the vehicle. And you really have to watch yourself when you're seeing these initial clips come out and say, no, there are other camera angles that are coming out. I will wait to pass judgment. And that's ultimately what you have to do, because otherwise you're just
they'll judge. Yeah, they're judging immediately. And like Kristi Noem said this week, she says you can't change the facts. The video shows what happened. And just because you don't like the facts doesn't mean you can change what really happened. You talked a lot about your independent reporting on your YouTube page. I want to invite everyone to go watch your YouTube reporting at Lumberjack Logic. That's his YouTube page right there. Big fan of yours, Neil. I love what you do. Thanks for stopping by, and to continue going out there and getting answers yourself about what's going on with the fraud in Minnesota. Keep up the great work, and hopefully everyone can go to your YouTube page and see some of your reporting. We appreciate you this morning.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Continuing on now in Minnesota, the protests, burning property, damaging property, all under WALZ's watch. This comes after the ICE shooting. Again, that was on January 7th, one day after the 5-year anniversary of January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. Who knows about this all too well is David Summerall with Stop the Hate. David is joining us this morning. David, good to have you on the show. Thanks for being here. Again, on the heels of J6, this ICE shooting on J7, you see some similarities here. What do you see?
Well, I see what the media does with these stories. They lie, they twist, they contort the facts, and they blame the wrong people every single time. And I think the similarities are just that they kind of stop there. J6 was not that kind of an action. J6 was actually a protest. People went to peacefully and patriotically make their voices heard. They didn't have intention to do what they were accused of doing. These people had intentions in these riots. And there's two different kinds of riots. There's a people kind and there's the police kind. And what we experienced on January 6th was a police riot. They attacked the crowd for over an hour before it was deemed a riot at all. So you could see the intentionality in the police actions. And now you're seeing it from the civilian side and from the media, the way they're trying to frame this and make another George Floyd. It's really sad to see how many people fall for the emotional clickbait that these things are. And it's really sad about the lady that got shot. But, when you compare her to like Ashley Babbitt, there's no comparison. Ashley was doing hero stuff. She pulled Zachary Alam back by his backpack, punched him in the nose and knocked his glasses off, and took that position to try to defend that area from the bad people that she'd been warning the police about the entire time. This other lady, you could see her intentions were to deny what the police were saying to her, to not go under that authority. And it's tragic, but I think it's a great lesson at the same time for other people to learn from.
Right. And, you're talking about the media it's clickbait, anything to get a view on their websites, their view on social media, and also on air. But it's also coming from the government as well. We have with us 2 letters. It was a letter, actually. It's 2 different screens we're going to show you. This comes from the city of Minneapolis. A business owner actually sent this to me yesterday. And I want you to really pay attention to what's in this letter and how they twist and turn, and their wording is so specific, it makes you think that ICE is the bad guys. It says the city of Minneapolis recognizes the pain and anger that the presence of federal immigration agents is causing in this city. I'm going to repeat that. The pain and anger that the presence of federal immigration agents is causing in the city. They are making it for the people to believe it's the agents causing the pain and anger. They say we urge community members not to take actions that could be used to justify further federal escalation or militarized response. It goes on to talk about knowing your rights, which everyone should know anyway. Resources for them, Continuing on to the second page, this letter to business owners says, make a safety plan. It's important to have a safety plan in place for yourself, your employees, for you to consider. Know your rights training, create a written plan, setting a designated response person and or team. Call 911 right away. It goes on to say that on page 2. You see someone with a gun and they are not wearing anything that identifies them as law enforcement. So that's pretty much on the law enforcement side right there. Contact 911, 311. They're saying prioritize safety. But there are some wordings in here that say, some businesses or organizations have reported an increase in harassing messages or targeted vandalism. If you see this, report it. But, at the top, again, during federal immigration actions in our city and following the fatal shooting of Renee Good by a federal agent, the city of Minneapolis and our state, county, and local partners are doing everything in our power to protect the safety of our entire community. But that one highlighted message goes to show, David, that looks to me, just in my opinion, looks to me that they're trying to blame all of this on the agents.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, and fan those flames and create angst and all the things that society does not need right now. They want to pop off some violence somewhere. They want to see more of this. And listen, this is historic. Anytime you can get people to act this way that the media can cover, the media will show up and perpetuate the problem. They want to see more. They want to do more. It incites the crowd to be more active and get on TV and have their 15 seconds. And this is a bad situation waiting to happen. The way that they are trying to incite the public with this language is very reminiscent to the searches that they were doing for J6ers. The same things. It's a different template. We try to tell people all the time it's a cookie cutter, and you can look back to the summer of love, the way that law enforcement, basically supported what people were doing in the streets, burning cities down and breaking and vandalizing. Now it's the same thing. They want the destruction of our society. They want it to pop off into some kind of civil conflict. And I want to remind people, if it does and we can't control it, guess what they signed into law years ago was for the UN to come in and be the peacekeeping force. We don't want them quarantining America and putting us in different quadrants and being in control of us at all. And we can't take the bait as Americans. I don't want to fight people just because they think differently than me, but they sure are trying to make us want to fight them. We can't fall for that either. It's not the proper thing to do. It's not the American thing to do. And we have to really be aware of the propaganda and how it's used against both sides at this point.
Yeah, that's why they're called agitators, because they pick at you until they can flip the switch and turn you into a different person. That's what they want. The Golden Globes, too, they were this week. And you have Hollywood on stage saying vulgar words against President Trump and federal agents and his administration. But who really listens to Hollywood anymore? I never watch those award shows anymore, but I do see the clips on social media. So they're a big player in this game as well. Going back to you, you were at J6, you've been through a lot. And so now you have Stop the Hate. Tell us a little bit about that and what you do now.
So stophate.com, actually, I started in 1992 during the LA riots. I saw what the media did with the little piece of video. They didn't show the whole story. They whipped the whole country into a race riot, basically. And when the acquittal came down for the officers because they didn't actually do anything wrong, then the country popped off like we keep talking about, and they went there. And we don't need that kind of violence and destruction and another summer of love. But we've, for 33 years, I guess now, been trying to tell people, it's an acronym: start turning off prejudice, heal attitudes through education. And it's not an ignorant campaign. We're not turning blind eyes toward bad things and letting people slide for their misdoings. We're being pragmatic and saying we can't survive if we're using hate as a first response. That's not healthy for us or anyone else or our country or our future. And we're teaching our kids that, and we're seeing the result of that in the propaganda, the films, the media, the movies, the music. We have to be the ones to put a stop to that and start more of a positive campaign for ourselves, for our children. I think that we're seeing more than we want to of how humans' bad nature can be. And I think we want better for everyone. I hope this teaches people lessons. I hope that we can get institutions back. You know, we need mental help for a lot of Americans that aren't getting it. They end up in the prison system, and that's not the right place for them either. So there's so many different things, but Stop Hate has just tried to be a light in the dark toward the conversations that need to happen. You know, we need to be able to have communication with people that we don't agree with. A friend of mine put out a post this morning talking about that. He's a leftist, and he said we can still be friends and still disagree about things. Well, that's not what the government wants, because if we're friends left and right, then we'll talk about what they're doing to all of us. That is what they're trying to avoid. That's why we need to have those conversations, so we're not scared of each other, for one, for reasons that we don't know or understand. We'll have those educational conversations, but two, that we need to talk together so we can resolve and fix our own problems. It's very obvious our government will never ever do that for us, and we have to fight them to help us in the first place. So it's time for new systems, new ideas, new relationships, new communication, and to really take our country back. I'm excited to be here to talk about that today too.
Yes, and real quick, we have a few minutes left. You have some films out as well.
Yes, we put out 5 documentaries about January 6th, one per year. I started in June of 21. Writing History is the first one, Bloody Hill the second, 1,000 Days of Terror was the third. J6 True Timeline worked on with several different producers. Beautiful film. Tucker loved that one. They're all really good, I have to say. And I'm a carpenter, I'm not a film. But then the last one is Pardon Us, Justice for All. It explains it came out after the pardon, so it explains the warfare, the lawfare, the court system, and how all that worked against J6ers. They're all free at stophate.com. Now listen, stophate.com. Don't put the in there. You'll be really sad and mad, and you'll think I'm weird, because there's a lot of, they kind of hijacked that name after I got it. And of course, the ADL tried to buy it from me years ago because they understand words and the strategy of the manipulation of the public and how to use those words. And they've tried everything they can. So don't go to the wrong one. Stophate.com. Everything's free there. You can go see all the J6 research. Our team did more J6 research than anyone on the planet, found more proof about that day, worked with lawyers. I testified in 10 trials. It's been a real experience. So like I said, it's all free. Please go and see what we do and share. There's trials that we're still doing to get the testimony of these people. There's all the publications we put out over the last years. Go and use it. It's a great resource.
All right, stophate.com. David Summerall, so good to see you. We'll see you soon here on Lindell TV. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to see you too. Thank you so much.
Well, another government shutdown is looming. And what are Democrats doing? Using this time to argue that Congress should not fund ICE, or at least cut funding to ICE. Here's more from our Allison Steinberg.
With the government shutdown deadline just weeks away, House Democrats are once again playing dangerous games with America's safety and security, threatening to block or restrict funding for ICE in the upcoming appropriations bill.
We should not be limiting funding for Homeland Security at a dangerous time. We need public officials to allow law enforcement to do their job.
Following the death of Renee Good, a radicalized protester who was fatally shot by an ICE agent who acted in self-defense, Democrats are again leveraging the latest must-pass spending package, potentially putting the American people in great danger. According to reports, Democrats are collectively pushing a wide range of demands, including efforts to suspend all of Minnesota's operations of ICE immediately, end qualified immunity for ICE officers more broadly, and are also calling for Kristi Noem, head of the Department of Homeland Security, to testify before Congress. But the madness does not stop there. Numerous Democrats, the same people who have repeatedly stated the investigations into the Minnesota fraud are somehow racist, are also now calling on Kristi Noem to be impeached, like Florida Congressman Jared Moskowitz.
She's not just an embarrassment to the country. She's an embarrassment to you and the president. Okay, she deserves to be removed from her job by the president, and if not, impeached.
And in the eyes of Illinois Congressman Sean Casten, impeachment alone is, quote, insufficient. He goes further and says the entire chain of command who have enabled a culture of murder must face justice. Well, that's an interesting take coming from the same people who quite literally cheered on the horrific cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk. On that note, far-left squad member Ilhan Omar appeared on MSNBC over the weekend and took the madness even further, complaining that enforcing federal immigration law is a waste of taxpayer money.
I'm so exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities in the amount of federal law enforcement agents that you have in the streets of our city and our state. There needs to be some sort of justification.
Perhaps the justification is the $9 billion and counting in fraud that's happening right in Omar's very own backyard. As President Trump posted on Truth Social, in the state of Minnesota, 89% of Somali households with children receive public assistance versus only 30% of native-born U.S. households. That's right. Nearly 9 out of 10 Somali families with kids in the state of Minnesota are on welfare. That's more than triple the rate of American-born families. So while Democrats like Omar decry spending money to enforce our laws and stop fraud, American taxpayers are shelling out billions to support communities that overwhelmingly rely on government aid. Americans are absolutely sick and tired of footing the bill for reckless Democrat policies that burden our system, while law-abiding citizens struggle and are put in harm's way. So the question remains, will Democrats back down and fund the agencies keeping our country safe? Or will they force another needless shutdown to appease their radical left base? Reporting for LINDELLTV, I'm Allison Steinberg.
That deadline to pass the next spending bill is January 30th. Now to Texas, where Secretary of War Pete Hegseth met with none other than Elon Musk. This was yesterday afternoon. The two met at SpaceX. Hegseth also visiting Lockheed Martin on his tour of the Lone Star State.
You see the same thing with narco-terrorists in our own hemisphere. For how long have we been talking about going after drugs and the poisoning of the American people? And for the longest time, it was a catch-and-release program, a law enforcement function, while these narco-terrorists and designated terrorist organizations specifically targeted our communities, our kids, and our people in our country. They knew exactly what they were doing. So instead of the catch-and-release, we let them know if you're going to sail drugs in international waters, we will target your drug boats and we will sink them. There haven't been many boats sunk recently because we can't find boats to sink, because no one wants to get in a narco boat, which is the whole point. Stop sending your drugs to our country and poisoning the American people. And then the whole world saw just over a week.
Who wants to get into a narco boat? No one, like he mentioned, or you'll get bombed. This is part of Hegseth's Arsenal of Freedom tour. While in Texas, Hegseth administered the oath of enlistment to 9 future sailors. Congratulations to them. Over 600 now confirmed dead in Iran. The latest in the ongoing protests there. When we come back, stay with us.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. Let's face it, you can't trust Big Pharma. They've already tried to block ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and raise prices on everything from antibiotics to your daily meds. Well, there's good news. All Family Pharmacy is standing up for medical freedom and helping people get the treatments they actually want. My family and I use them all the time. They made it easy and affordable without the runaround. While other pharmacies are jacking up prices, they've actually dropped theirs. Ivermectin now starts at just $2 a capsule. Use my promo code LINDELL10, you get an extra 10% off of that. You need ivermectin, antibiotics, or methylene blue, you name it, they've got it. They make it simple. You fill out a short online form, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your meds ship fast right to your front door. If you want to be prepared and have your medications on hand, this is your new pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code LINDELL10 saves you even more. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code LINDELL10. If you want to drop extra pounds, boost energy levels, and reduce swelling in your legs and feet, then this message is for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to make America healthy again. And two of their best-selling health supplements are leading the way. First is Liver Health Formula. Over 100 million Americans have a sluggish liver that's riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on the pounds, and make you feel tired. Liver Health Formula takes care of that. It supports thriving liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down and revitalize your energy levels. Next is lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet, this is for you. The natural ingredients in lymph system support help gently flush away extra fluid and toxins out of your body. And right now, for a limited time, you can get 35% off Liver Health Formula and Lymph System Support, along with 50 plus other health supplements that Pure Health Research has to offer. So head over to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com, promo code Lindell to save 35% on your order today.
Today on Capitol Hill, a group of Republicans will file a framework bill called Making the American Dream Affordable Again. 190 members are codifying what President Trump has done to make life more affordable for all of us. That's home ownership, health care, energy, families, you name it. Republicans say President Trump has done more in 1 year where families and businesses can thrive. Home ownership. The average age is now over 40 years old to own a home. They want to open up the markets where younger adults can afford a home. Same with bringing down health care plans. They want to shop across state lines to find plans that best fit you. Energy. They want to make it easier to get permits with trust in the government. On a call this morning, House Republicans said they want to carry the momentum from 2025 and bring that into 2026 to make the American dream affordable again. Again, that bill is being introduced this morning and filed in Washington, D.C. All U.S. citizens have been told to leave Iran immediately. Protesters and those who live there asking for the U.S. help against the current regime. Sierra Claire with us now, foreign policy expert. Sierra, thanks for joining us, being here with us this morning. This is a situation you and I have been following closely. Americans really need to pay close attention to what's going on there in Iran. Over 600 dead now. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Vanessa. I think that everybody should have eyes on Iran right now because what is happening, it could be a major geopolitical shift affecting Americans' safety, American troops' safety over there in the region. You know, the Iranian terrorists have been a threat that kind of just hangs in the background for any troops that are over there in the Middle East. So a regime change here could mean a whole lot of things for that. But as you said, there are about 600 protesters who have unfortunately been killed by the regime. And that was President Trump's red line that he has been mentioning, that he does not want to see this happen to these protesters who have the right to peacefully protest. So what he has done is he actually issued a statement yesterday saying that there are going to be 25% tariffs on any country doing business with Iran. So why is that important? Because China gets a significant portion of their oil from Iran, probably more now that they're not getting it from Venezuela. So China is going to be affected by that. Russia may be affected by that. And what it also does is it brings the economics of this whole aspect of the protests into sharp focus for those Iranian people who are out on the streets. And the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, who's been kind of the organizer from the outside, from abroad, kind of helping to organize these protests, he has been calling for the oil and gas sector workers to go on strike. That's going to be a really critical thing for seeing these protests go to the next level, for seeing the success of this revolution. And with these tariffs that Trump has put on, you're going to see more of these people driven out into the streets, more people joining the protests as these economic issues that the Iranian regime has created come into sharper focus.
Right. And, to look at the video coming out of Iran is astounding. I mean, millions of people filling the streets there, hundreds of cities where they're protesting. Look at the fires burning. The people there, Sierra, they've had enough. They have been drained of their resources from not being able to afford basic necessities to live, from grocery stores to healthcare costs. These people, they just want a regime change where they can, just like any of us and just like the people in Venezuela, they just want to live in this free society where they can take care of themselves and their families.
Exactly. The revolutionaries who are out there protesting, like you said, they are so tired of this oppressive regime. They're coming out, and there's all kinds of statements that are coming out from the people who are on the streets, whatever can get through the internet blackout. But you always see things of people talking about the Iranian heritage and the way that that country has basically been occupied by this brutal regime who imposes all of these very backwards, 1,000-year-old kind of society on a society that is really prizes things like education, prizes things like art and poetry. So really interesting. It could be really interesting to see what happens to Iran, when these revolutions kind of subside, and if they are able to successfully make a regime change, because that country could look entirely different than what it looks like now.
Yeah. And again, like you just mentioned, President Trump said effective immediately that tariff plan is in place, up to 25% on any and all businesses who are doing any type of business with Iran. He says this order is final and conclusive. So that's a huge development that we'll continue to watch, and we'll bring Sierra back on for any developments there. Also, another topic that we're following now is President Trump warning that the cartels from Mexico are next. Here he is on Fox.
We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water, and we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country, but the cartels are running, and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs. So we've done a really good job. We're knocking it down. The numbers are really getting to be, they're always going to be too high if you have one person, but they're going down just like the border. The border was a total mess for years. I did it the first time very quickly, and this time I did it even better because this was a bigger mess. This was a border like no other probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border like that when anybody could just walk into your country.
The border's ostensibly really closed now.
Closed. You can't come in. And nobody comes. Nobody even tries.
Yeah. No one tries anymore, Sierra, during a Trump administration, but that's something that the American people know about all too well are the cartels there at the southern border. President Trump just mentioning we've attacked them via narco terrorists on water. Now we're going to attack them on land and make sure they're not bringing drugs into our country.
Absolutely, Vanessa. Well, it's interesting because if you compare the situation in Iran, which a lot of people are calling President Trump and trying to push him into military action, which I think he will take at the appropriate time, and we won't know about that until after it happens. But they saying, oh, he's not being strong, or he's not capable of handling this situation. And if you look at what's going on with the cartels, it's exactly what he said. They are stopped. They're not coming across the border anymore, and they're going to be even further destroyed through these land strikes. So I'm not seeing that criticism, make any sense. I think he's got all of these bad people on the run. He's got these cartels on the run, and anybody who is a threat to the United States should be, very concerned about testing President Trump and his boundaries. And that's what these cartels have been doing. They've just been testing his boundaries and continuing to try and get around, all of the measures that he has put in place at the southern border to keep that secure. And so he has to go after them on land now. And I think that that's going to make a huge difference.
He has my support. Sierra, just seconds ago, I want to pull this up on the topic of Iran. President Trump just put this out on Truth Social. He says, Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions, save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stop. Help is on its way. MIGA, he says, that's Make Iran Great Again. And then he signs off. President Donald J. Trump just posting that as we talked here, Sierra, on Truth Social. Your thoughts on what he just posted?
Well, I think when he says help is on the way, I think those Iranian dictators should be very, very concerned. That is never a good message from President Trump for the bad people of the world. And for the protesters, it's exactly what he said, stay out on the streets. He sees the opportunity. A lot of people around the world see the opportunity that these people have created, that they have the momentum now. This is regime change. This is a revolution, and we don't want to lose that momentum and his support. And when he says that, stay out on the streets, it's making all the difference, and it's just going to accelerate the collapse of this horrible regime.
Yeah, and we'll continue to follow that as we always do, Sierra. I want everyone to check out your Substack. How can people follow you and the work that you do?
Yeah, my Substack is sierranock.substack.com, and they can also find me on X at Cerise Dumartin, and you'll find articles and op-eds and all of my latest analysis.
We appreciate you, Sierra. Thanks for waking up early. I know we've been in the afternoons, but now we're early birds. So thanks for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to start my day with you, Vanessa. Thank you.
Well, coming up, the check engine light is on. Children's YouTuber Miss Rachel sings Wheels on the Bus to a classroom full of kids with the most horrible passenger we can ever think of. One of the ones. Zoran Mamdani, you are watching that correctly. Those poor kids. More on this next.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest Made in America sale ever. We just put huge discounts on products made right here in the USA. MyPillow bed pillows, body pillows, go anywhere pillows, bolster pillows, all made with my patented adjustable fill. mattresses, mattress toppers, mattress pads, adjustable bed frames, mattress foundations, and so much more. All made right here in the USA. And now we're expanding our USA products beyond just quality sleep. Like the cross I wear every day, now available in both men's and women's. We even have USA-made socks. And are you tired of being tired? Try our new health beverage, Rev 7. Or how about my coffee, the greatest coffee ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get deep discounts on all these products. Plus, for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. Are you taking advantage of President Trump's golden age? Or what if I told you you can just sit back and earn money as President Trump continues to repair our economy and make America energy independent again? I'm talking about oil royalty checks. With the help of the Oxford Club, thousands of Americans have unlocked this secret hack that has put money back in hard-working American pockets. Financial expert and LINDELLTV supporter Mark Lichtenfield has showed me how. It's a way to profit from America's energy production that's been working quietly for decades, even when oil companies were struggling. So go to LindellOilBoom.com to find out how this all works and why it's relevant right now. That's LindellOilBoom.com. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Taking a look at the opening bell on Wall Street, U.S. stock indexes are slightly lower this morning as traders brace for key economic data, including December inflation and the start of earnings season. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all down. Opening bell, NASDAQ up just a little bit at this time. The wheels on the bus are squeaky. This morning, the YouTube children's sensation, Miss Rachel, she visited a New York City classroom. Sounds fun, right? But her passenger on the bus, the new mayor.
Oh my goodness, today, the mayor's on the bus. The mayor on the bus says, hello friends. Can you wave? Show us a wave. The mayor on the bus says, hello friends. Hello friends. Hello friends. The mayor on the bus says, hello.
I don't want you to have to spit out your coffee this morning. I know it just looks awful, but Miss Rachel, she's getting a lot of kickback over this one. Not too many parents happy about her guest appearance with Zohran Mamdani bringing a communist to the classroom. At least my kid wasn't there. Good news. Well, over in Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton is launching an investigation into grocery store chains accused of spraying organic produce with pesticides without telling consumers. Paxton says it's wrong for grocery stores to mislead consumers and that it's illegal. Again, an investigation is underway. More news to go as you head out the door this morning. The Clintons expected to testify on Capitol Hill today regarding the Epstein files. No word yet on if they are showing up. It could be any minute at their scheduled deposition at the top of the hour. So that starts in just about 5 minutes. We'll keep a close eye on that. Chairman Comer has threatened to hold them both in contempt of Congress if they are no-shows today. And the Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments this morning in 2 cases that could determine trans athletes in women's sports. Men who identify as women competing as girls against girls. Is it discrimination or is it fair? Sounds like a no-brainer, but we shall see what they decide. And President Trump is heading to Detroit today. That's on his calendar to speak to the Detroit Economic Club and tour the Ford Rouge complex. His topic of discussion, manufacturing and the economy. And those are your top stories we're following on this Tuesday. You can follow the news with us here and also online, LINDELLTV.com. And we leave you in prayer today. Our Bible verse of the day comes from the book of Mark. Jesus said, "Let us go somewhere else to the towns nearby so that I may preach there also, for that is what I came for." And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thanks so much for watching. For breaking news 24/7, make sure you're following me on social media. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good day, America.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Huge breaking news. Mike Lindell Media Corporation, which includes Lindell TV, has gone public with the stock trading symbol MLMC.
Kara Castronovo from Lindell TV.
This is Allison Steinberg here with Lindell TV. We are currently on LINDELLTV.com.
The platform, which has rapidly grown to attract 7.2 million monthly viewers and 150 million annual impressions. Vocal, its subsidiary social media network, supports over 70,000 accounts, and MLMC is poised for even greater success.
This is going to be big, everybody, and I'm really looking forward to it. We all know what MyPillow has done for quality sleep, and we know what quality sleep does for our health. Well, now we're taking things a step further, introducing our brand new health and wellness line, formulated by a doctor with over 20 years of experience who only uses the highest industry standards. I've known and worked with him for over 13 years, and they're made right here in my home state of Minnesota. We have everything from ashwagandha and apple cider gummies, a liquid joint formula, body and beauty detox kits, liquid complex for heart and brain support, a cold buster all-in-one immune formula, Vibe, the best superfood ever, fish oil omega-3 pills, pro and prebiotics gut health formulas, and so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to get deep discounts on all these products. Plus, for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free. swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer.